How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. It is Thursday here on the show, and man, you know what that means? We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about here today. Obviously, the big story is the situation with TNA talent, which has been pulled from a number of events. Everybody's talking about it. It was a big story on Busted Open today when MJF and Nick Nemeth, who were scheduled to wrestle each other, both talked about it. And we'll tell you here what is going on. We've also got an update on SmackDown. We have a debut coming up on SmackDown tomorrow, the week before WrestleMania. TNA has a Rebellion show this weekend. Obviously, Sunday is AEW Dynasty. We'll talk about the Dynamite show last night. 2 hours and 26 minutes. And we still have multiple matches scheduled for that show. So we'll talk about that and all of the rest of the news, not the least of which is a big story here on WrestleMania tickets. What are the WrestleMania ticket prices compared to prices historically? For those of you wondering, hey, why is this a big story other than the obvious? So we'll tell you about that. Plus, they've added some... I can't even believe some of the things going on over WrestleMania weekend. And this one actually involves WWE. We'll talk about the tax break they're going to get, CMLL getting Fox Sports 2, La Catalina, and, of course, the Dynamite report from Wednesday night as well. If you want to text us, 425-780-7566. That is 425-780-7566. F4W Online @gmail.com is the email. F4W Online, Threads, Instagram, and Cameo. I'm at Bryan Alvarez, X and Blue Sky. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Everyone, make sure you grab your tickets for the F4W convention in Las Vegas coming up over WrestleMania weekend. We got a lot of exciting stuff going on, including live Q&As and podcasts. There's going to be 2 of them, one with myself and Vinny, the other with myself and Dave Meltzer. We'll be doing a live Q&A for both of those shows as well. We've got an awesome dinner, Texas Day Brazil, eat all you can, steak, salad bar, the whole shebang. That's going to be a fun one. You can watch wrestling with Dave Meltzer Saturday and Sunday. And then after WrestleMania, on both Saturday and Sunday, there is a sweet party where we will have food, drink, liquor, and more. There's also a karaoke extravaganza with Vinny. You can check that out as well. Tickets for everything available, f4wonline.com/Vegas. That is f4wonline.com/Vegas. Grab your tickets today. If you love this show, you should consider signing up at WrestlingObserver.com. WrestlingObserver.com has every show that we have ever done. Over 15,000 podcasts in the archives, dating back to 2005. Searchable by show, searchable by year. Perhaps the first show you ever watched was 2008 WrestleMania? Well, you can head into the archives and you can find the podcast we did, all built around the 2008 WrestleMania. Every major show, whether it be WWE, AEW, we covered it all. 15,000 archived shows at WrestlingObserver.com. Also, when you subscribe, you get full access to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's a new Observer every Friday. And on top of that, we have thousands and thousands of archived issues of the Observer dating back to 1991. So again, WrestleMania 2008, go to the archives, search WrestleMania 2008, read all of the issues surrounding that show. Of course, Wrestling Observer newsletter, 40,000 words of news and information on pro wrestling and mixed martial arts every single week. New issue comes out every Friday. New back issue comes out every Monday. You also get the discussion board. One of the best discussion boards on the internet. It's members only. If you're going to troll, well, you got to pay to troll, and there aren't too many of those. And if you cause too much trouble, you're out of there. So if you want a great place to discuss professional wrestling, it is the board. Also available as a subscriber at WrestlingObserver.com. The whole package all of the new shows, all of the archived shows, all of the new issues of The Observer, all of the archived editions of the newsletter, all of the past episodes of Wrestling Observer Radio, Wrestling Observer Live, The Bryan and Vinny Show, Figure 4 Daily, Filthy 4 Daily, The Board, all of it, just $14.99 per month. The full shebang, and you can save a lot of money getting an annual subscription. A full year, you basically get 2 months free. So check it out, WrestlingObserver.com, everything you'll ever need as a fan of professional wrestling. Check it out today, F4WOnline.com. Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Lance Storm is joining us here today. What a day for you to join us, Lance. Your boss has got heat.
That's what I hear, although I have probably less knowledge than you do about it. But
well, you're going to find out here pretty soon. Well, the big story is that a bunch of AEW versus TNA matches were scheduled to take place over WrestleMania weekend and elsewhere, and they are no longer taking place. There was a Leon Slater versus Ricochet match scheduled for the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show. That match is off. MJF versus Nick Nemeth for Creative Pro is off. And then there was a situation where Moose got pulled from Maple Leaf Wrestling. There was a Maple Leaf Wrestling show that Moose was scheduled to be on, and he was pulled. So when I heard that, well, quite frankly, I jumped to a conclusion that apparently is not true. I thought this was going to be a situation like we had seen with CMLL and AAA, where one side put the hammer down and basically said there cannot be people from this promotion and that promotion not just working together, but on the same show, okay? Can't even be on the same show together. So what it appears to be, from talking to people today, is that AEW and TNA wrestlers can work on the same show in different matches, but they cannot work together. Okay? Which actually is interesting because the Relentless Pro Wrestling show in Spokane that I was at a couple of weeks ago, where I got frickin' tased, that show had a TJP versus Mike Santana match. And TJP, I don't know his exact contractual status, but he's working for AAA, which is a WWE company. And he wrestled Santana, who is the TNA champion. And so I just remember watching and going, wow, this is actually really cool. We got basically a WWE guy versus a TNA guy, but it's a AAA guy versus a TNA guy. And it was cool. And granted, those are still going to take place because TNA and WWE have a working agreement. But
Santana was on NXT.
It's even more bizarre to think about the idea of, man, we're going to see a TNA guy who TNA works with WWE. We're going to see a TNA guy against an AEW guy. And, MJF, AEW champion, Nick Nemeth, that's a big match. And Leon Slater and Ricochet, they really wanted to do that match. Well, now none of these matches are taking place. And why? No one's talking, but I think obviously the WWE probably laid the hammer down. And there is a story out there. That allegedly Carlos Silva got very angry when AEW ran a collision on Thursday, basically head-to-head with TNA, and decided that's it. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's a public story. I know people have been discussing that. But I think the issue is mostly WWE just doesn't want a promotion they're working with to have their talent work matches with AEW wrestlers where in many cases those AEW wrestlers are going to beat the TNA wrestlers. I'm skeptical that Nick Nemeth was going to beat MJF. That's just me. But the matches are now off, and a lot of people are very upset about it. MJF went on Busted Open this morning. He said, let's talk about TNA, the fact they're pulling young talent off of shows, and they're barely paying them any money whatsoever and telling them, hey, you can't wrestle because there's a guy from another promotion that's wrestling on the show. Does that help young talent grow? Does that help young talent become better inside the squared circle? Does that help young talent put food on their plate so they can eat? What Carlos Silva is doing is disgusting. And if anybody supports him or that company at this point, it's very hard for me to wrap my head around. Now, granted, I think MJF is potentially confused about this because, like I said, I believe the deal is you can still have TNA and AEW wrestlers on the same show.
Well,
they
Nick's
just
still on that show.
Cannot wrestle each other. Yes. So I think that's what's going on, but he did call him a dumb MFer in his social media post on Thursday. So he's mad. He wanted that match, and so did Nemeth.
Yeah, well, I would like to point out that if he thinks not letting them wrestle AW talent on indie shows is taking food out of their mouths, I would say MJF saying don't support that company is also taking food out of their mouths.
Well, that is true. Well, Carlos Silva apparently told Fightful it was due to partner conflicts, which, of course, sounds like WWE. In fact, what else would it be?
I think that is our partner.
What other partner conflicts would we be talking about here? So anyway, that's what's going on, and that looks to be the new decree, which is if there's an indie show, TNA and AEW people can be on the same show working matches, but they cannot work matches against each other. Which, I mean, the way that pro wrestling is and has been for 100 years, I'm not saying I agree with it, everybody. Can I make that clear? I'm not saying I agree with it, but I am stunned it took this long. I will say that. So, that is the update on AEW and TNA at this point. SmackDown is tomorrow, and we've got a card, and it includes Cody Rhodes responding to Pat McAfee, which I thought he did last week. Pat McAfee also has some things to say. We have Drew McIntyre promising to expose the real Jacob Fatu. Sami Zayn is out for payback on Trick Williams. So, by the way, that's 4 things, and none of them are matches. And the only match that they have announced, the only match, is the debut of Royce Keys. The former Powerhouse Hobbs is a SmackDown talent.
Television debut.
And he is making his debut here, I guess his SmackDown debut. So, yeah, he is on SmackDown now. So Royce Keys will make his debut. For everybody asking, where is this guy? Well, now you know. He's going to be debuting on SmackDown. We also have the announcement of the opening matches for WrestleMania 42. According to WrestleVotes Radio, Night 1, the opening match, so this is the match that's going to air first on ESPN2. So the first 2 matches air on ESPN2 on Night 1, and the regular ESPN on Night 2. So Night 1 on ESPN2, it is Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and Speed against the Usos and LA Knight. For Night 2, the opening match, which is also the opening match on ESPN, it is Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Which, listen, I thought Obafemi and Brock Lesnar should be the main event of Night 1. Clearly, it's not happening. If it's not, hey, listen, I am fine with it being the opener because the opening match on WrestleMania, either night, always, sometimes has the most heat of anything on the show. And that is a hot match. The people really want to see that match. And that's going to be a barn burner of an opener on Night 2. So that is the plan for both of those. Now, when we come back from the break, WrestleNomics went through and they took the prices for every WrestleMania and they adjusted for inflation, and we are going to compare how much ticket prices have been historically, adjusted for inflation, as compared to this year, because it has been a talking point. These tickets are so expensive. So stand by, and we'll talk about that after the break. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Well, we reviewed SmackDown yesterday, Tom, and you don't even get SmackDown. You're very, just, you know how you are.
Fine. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever.
That's your impression of me?
Yeah, that's my impression of you.
Wow.
So what are we, at least, I hope you at least watch the SmackDown main event.
I watched the entire show.
Okay, because there's a lot of people that still like your review, Tom.
I went on the board, and I saw like 2 people.
Yeah, do you go on Twitter?
Yeah, I do go on Twitter,
You read my emails?
I do go on
the
Twitter.
Text messages? I mean...
Do you go on Twitter? Because if you do,
yes.
You would have seen one of the greatest moments in world history.
In world history, really.
World history. Frank Tate walked away the victor of the fight, but he walked away an even bigger winner when it comes to life. This man completed what I would say is the best high five, the best dap up in the history of the galaxy. This man had his dog. His dog. And when I say dog,
barely a dog.
I mean D-O-G and D-A-W-G. This was a dog, baby. The dog was so proud. You can see just the elation in that dog's face. He threw that paw up. He let it hang for a few moments, and then he brought it down for the dap.
Tom's not even doing this justice. Everyone has seen a dog, like you put your hand out and the dog like puts his paw up to shake hands. This freaking dog goes, ah, hapa! Like, what? That was more than a high five. I don't even know what you would even term that. He dunked. He dunked that man.
30 million views on this clip. And that is about 1/10 of what it should have. So if you haven't seen it, you deserve it. Treat yourself. Go to my Twitter. Watch Frank Tate high five his dog.
No, he did not high five his dog.
The dog high fived him.
His dog high fived him. Yes. He just wanted like a, just boom. And this dog was like, no way, brother. You knock that man out. I'm going to give you a big time dunking high five from way up high. You go high five, up high, down low, too slow. This was an up high. Guy should have pulled his hand away.
It's the best thing you've ever seen.
Man, too slow, Joe. Yeah, it was pretty good. Not going to lie. I liked it. On the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Want to mention that it's Thursday, and so Vinny and I will be going live tonight for subscribers at 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, AEW and NXT. We got 90 minutes to cover both of those shows, and a lot to talk about. And also, if you are not a subscriber, at 9 o'clock tonight, 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern, Garrett Gonzalez and Paul Fontaine will be doing a live AEW Dynasty preview version of Fight Game. That'll be at 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern tonight on the F4W YouTube channel, which is video.f4wonline.com. It is free, so head up there tonight and check out one or both. You can watch them both if you would like. You can watch Bryan and Vinny show reviewing Dynamite, and then you can watch the Dynasty preview show. both on YouTube, f4wonline.com/YouTube tonight. So WrestleMania tickets, Brandon Thurston did the adjustment for inflation. So what that means is the first WrestleMania, Madison Square Garden, 1985, the average ticket price for that show at the time was $15.
Wow.
$15 got you into WrestleMania. Now, granted, $15 in 2026 currency was $43. Okay? So if that show were taking place today, in today's currency, the average ticket price to get into WrestleMania 1 was $43. Okay?
Wow.
Now, he's been tracking it since we're gonna jump to 2008, okay, and go from there. So in 2008, the average ticket price in 2008 dollars was $89 to get into WrestleMania. Adjusted for inflation, it is $131. So the Orlando WrestleMania in 2008, $131. Okay?
Wow.
So from that point, tickets stayed relatively affordable through 2013. So from 2008 to 2013, adjusted for inflation, the get-in price was $131, $184, $125, $141, and $183. In 2013, the average ticket price, adjusted for inflation, jumped to $223. And it went up a little bit every year until hitting $319 for WrestleMania 35 in New Jersey.
And that's the entire show, folks.
That was the one, by the way, where when it was over, I said I was never going to Mania again. Plans change, okay? So then obviously we had the pandemic. Now, after the pandemic, the 2020 WrestleMania had no fans. The 2021 WrestleMania in Tampa, ticket sales dropped all the way down, adjusted for inflation, to $194 to get into WrestleMania. That was your average ticket price. The Arlington, Texas WrestleMania in 2022, the average ticket price, adjusted for inflation, was $147. $147 to get in. So now, from 2023 through today, 2023 was $178.
For half the show.
Well, this is just per ticket price, okay?
Yes, but you get half the show now.
But still, 2023 was $178. 2024 was $348. 2025, $635. And today, I don't even know what. If you take the 2-day price points for this year's WrestleMania, they range from $854 to $9,000, which means if we actually took the average, it would be $2,472. Okay? Now, granted, the very few, very, very expensive seats kind of skews everything, but still, if you take out the extremes, we're still looking at $1,700 for a ticket.
Yeah. A lot of those averages will really be brought down by the discounted day of tickets and the nosebleeds that happen at Manias.
That probably will happen in the end. But basically what we're looking at here is starting in 2023, the ticket prices have gone from $178 to $348 to $635 to $1,700. So he had some more here. Yes, based on the current numbers, just in the last 2 years, everybody, just in the last 2 years, the percentage jump in Mania ticket prices over the last 2 years alone, 340% over 2 years. So he notes that if TK wanted to follow inflation and just give fans the fair level of cost for a stadium event, it most likely would average $400 per ticket. But instead they're at $1,800. So anyway, the last I checked, WrestleMania ticket sales, Dave keeps going, they're gonna get 50, they're gonna get 60, whatever. I mean, at this point, they may have to open the doors because they're still under 40,000 for night one. I think it's around 38,000, and they're right around 40,000 for night two. It is completely stalled out, and I got to say this because I'm so sick of my timeline. I don't even tweet, and my timeline is a mess. Somebody else tweeted something, and then they tagged me. So I reported a couple of days ago that following CM Punk's promo on Raw, WWE lowered the ticket price a little bit for WrestleMania, and their plan is in certain markets throughout the summer, they're going to lower ticket prices, okay? Now, God bless them. God bless you all. God bless us one and all, as that guy said. Some people are so stupid that they misinterpreted that as CM Punk went off script, made a comment about ticket prices, and they were forced to lower them. I gotta mute myself. I'll mute myself. How in the possibly get that out of what I said? The plan was to do this, and then they worked it into a CM Punk promo for the Jiminy Christmas. Now, they're going to lower some prices for certain shows through the summer. It has nothing to do with CM Punk. It was not a shoot that caused this. Okay? But I can't even remember what I was going to say. I got so angry. What was I talking about?
But them reducing prices on some events, and WrestleMania, they're probably going to drop them close to the event and perhaps even open the doors the day of. Who
I
knows?
had a point. I can't remember what it was now. I'm just so aghast at this thing on my Twitter. These people thought that CM Punk forced their hand or something. Like, for days, my timeline is just like, oh, praise CM Punk. And other people are like, you're so stupid. And then, no, I'm not. Like, oh, my God. But anyway, whatever my point was, that's my point. All right?
Perfect. It's hard to argue.
All right. If I remember, I'll go back. What was my point? What was I talking about? What was I talking about? I was talking about lowering ticket prices, right? What did this have to do with Raw? Somebody said something stupid on Twitter. That happens all the time.
Raw was the Punk promo, wasn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, I remember what it was. So immediately after that promo, they dropped the lower bowl of WrestleMania. Okay, the lower bowl ticket prices had been $2,000 or above. Okay, everything in the lower bowl, $2,000 or above. So right after the CM Punk promo, they did drop the lower bowl prices under $2,000. They dropped to like $1,900 something or whatever. Okay, so it wasn't a big drop, but they did drop it. Okay. So, I spent Tuesday, mentioning that, well, they did the promo, and then they dropped some ticket price. You can now get the lower bowl for under $2,000. Well, as it turns out, yes, they did that, but then in the upper bowl, they raised prices. So it's like a gimmick. So the point is, they still are completely stuck because the lower bowl ticket prices, they dropped, but they're still too high. And then the cheap seat prices, they raised. So anyway, we'll see what happens. They've just totally stalled out. And it's obvious why. And I've said before, it's too late now. They could just plunge the ticket prices. And now it's too late to get a plane ticket at a decent price and a hotel at a decent price. A hotel, all of that. You can drop tickets $500. And, people can go buy a ticket for $500 less, but then they're going to pay $500 more for their flight and $500 more. It's too late. They price themselves out of the market, and they waited too long to drop the prices.
Hey,
So
if it's not too late to plan a wedding and get married at WrestleMania, how can you say it's too late?
yeah,
to
tell us what Miz is doing.
I just
Miz!
saw it on Miz is apparently going to officiate. Well, provided someone's willing to pay the money, officiate weddings in the ring, I believe, before WrestleMania.
Yes. You can go into the ring and have The Miz marry you. You have to pre-register at...
To someone else.
I swear to God.
He's marrying you to someone else.
TagTeamForLife.com. Lance, we don't know that.
Yes, I think it does say he's officiating, not getting married to someone in the ring.
Back in a moment, Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. It is the annual Christmas show. We have Big Vinny V as always, who's wearing a hat.
Can confirm.
Sean is here as always. He is not festive at all.
I forgot my hat.
Granny is here. Granny, what's going on?
Hello.
Craig is here, not festive at all.
Yep.
And we have Filthy Tom. Oh boy. Should we do shots now?
No.
I think I should probably watch this for a second. Oh my God. Granny is doing a joyride.
I thought they were going to be here.
A box of tissues. Clearly that was for Vinny.
Scotty's.
How dare you? Yeah!
Who is this? My guest?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
John in Memphis is on the air and he is hammered. I'm a cool guy, right? I'm invited to the barbecue. God damn it!
Merry Christmas!
I got sober up for this call.
Yes.
That's a girl.
Oh, is this Harley Cameron?
How
Love
did
you.
you know? I even put
I
on the
love you.
American accent.
It is? Everyone shut up.
Hold on.
You are the most talented performer in the entire business.
Yes, man.
What are you doing in pro wrestling?
First of all, you've been far too generous and kind, and I appreciate you.
I don't think I've ever seen Vinny that happy before.
Bro, ladies and
Yeah, I'm
gentlemen,
gonna open a
welcome to the show today here with Filthy Tom Lawler and the Goon Squad.
Tom, what are you doing?
I gotta pee.
Well, go pee then. Don't do it on air.
Hola,
Way to go.
Hola?
¿cómo estás?
Is this the Beast Mortos? Yes!
That could not go any better.
The Beast Mortos is here on the air. Beast, how you doing? He sounds very agitated, Vinny.
I'm starting to get the feeling this is not a live call with the Beast Mortos.
The Beast is short-circuited. No!
Yes! That's the moon!
¿Cómo estás?
What is happening?
Hello, Brian.
Is this Don Callis?
Rob is using the Meltzer star rating for his urinal visits. Just so you know, I'm 7 stars, baby.
Ah!
So that's it.
If it's 7 stars, I want to see it.
What? You ever heard the term long suffering?
I've lived it for a while.
God.
I told you about my neck.
I'm talking psychological suffering. When I watched
I've
the
been in the
last
wrestling business for 36 years, dude.
2 weeks of Dynamite ended on time, I was like, I let my guard down. Big mistake. Then this guy, he was like, I'll show this Alvarez. I'll bet Russo and Coach put him up to it on that podcast. 26-minute overrun. I'm not making this up. The overrun went 26 minutes.
Did YouTube TV catch it?
Well, I got a trick that I do now.
Ah.
Yeah, you guys want to know the trick? Because no, YouTube TV would not have caught it. In fact, like, it wasn't just me. I had a bunch of people last night that were like, I set it for 15 minutes over. It still wasn't enough. Yeah.
I set mine for 30 and just got it all.
Oh, my God. The trick, guys, is you have to start watching the show before it ends. So I usually wait till 5 minutes before 10, and then you can choose watch live or join in progress. I think those are the two options.
Nah.
Yeah.
Watch from the beginning or join in progress.
Yeah, don't choose watch from beginning. You have to join in progress and then rewind to the beginning. If you do that, it'll just play the entire show. The only problem is once it gets into the overrun period, if you accidentally hit rewind, it takes you all the way back to when the overrun started. Infuriating. So anyway, can't fast forward either. You can only anyway, the point is, yeah, I watched it, but it was too long. It's an issue with Tony in that he is the ultimate sicko, and he can watch wrestling all night long. It doesn't matter. He'll watch wrestling when everyone else is asleep. When everyone else dies, he will keep watching for another 3 days straight. And so we basically are watching his complete insanity when we watch these shows. Oh, you want 9 bangers on one show? Okay, he's loving every second of it. Oh, you want to go 26 minutes over? He's loving every second. He'd go 3 hours over if he could. But anyway.
I'm guessing that main event match probably overshot its target on time.
I don't think so, dude. It started at like 14 minutes before the top of the hour. It didn't go that long. It's just, I mean, this was whatever. What did you think of the show?
I thought it was very busy. I've mentioned that before. And I think part of that is, as not a regular viewer, like the opening promo and the opening match together, I think featured 24 to 27 people. And it was just a lot for me to soak in because I'm like, okay, who are these people with Osprey? And then, more people running in, more people. And it was just 26 people by the end of the first match is a lot to soak in and figure out who everybody is.
I thought it was a pretty good show, but my issue watching it as a reporter, if I may say that, since most of you are not, because I watch things a little differently sometimes. So I knew going in, they only had 5 matches for the pay-per-view. And they always run 13-match pay-per-views. And so I knew we've got to put together like 7 matches on this show. So every moment of this show, I'm watching and going, okay, what match are they setting up? And then you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Raw and SmackDown, where they had it was just a few weeks ago. It was like, we have this card for WrestleMania. There was only like 6 matches. You knew they were going to have like 6 or 7 on each night. And so I'm watching the show, waiting to watch angles to set up matches for WrestleMania. And over again, it's like, all right, we're shooting an angle. I'm like, here we go. And it's like, this will be for Collision. What? All right, we're shooting an angle. This one's going to be for tonight's show. I was like, are we ever going to shoot an angle for something on the pay-per-view? Like, I know we have to have pay-per-view matches. So when the show is over, I think they're at 9. So on Saturday's Collision, they have to add 4 matches. I don't know what they're going to be, but they have to. So it opened up with Moxley and Ospreay brawling in the garage, and the Death Riders are about to kill him when a car shows up. Alex Windsor, Callum Newman with his IWGP title, Hanare and Francesco Akira all show up. You can hear the crowd. The crowd clearly has absolutely no idea who any of these guys are.
Nor did I.
But to their credit, Excalibur explained who they were. And of all people, the guy that got himself over the biggest was not the new IWGP heavyweight. It was Hanare. That guy got himself over on this show more than anybody else. And they had this big brawl, and the Death Riders bailed, and Ospreay cut a promo. And I thought, all right, we're gonna get some, like obviously Ospreay and Moxley have a match, but we're gonna get some sort of Death Riders versus United Empire match for the pay-per-view. Nope, they announced that for the main event, so that was that. Then Don Callis did a promo, announced that Kyle Fletcher's injured, he is out of action, so there will be a Casino Gauntlet on Sunday, and he said there was going to be a Protocol Young Bucks match, but that is off because Kyle is injured. And so, as we find out later, it is going to be Okada and Takeshita versus the Young Bucks. And later they added the stip that if they beat the Bucks, then Takeshita gets a shot at Okada's title, presumably at Double or Nothing. Although at this point, I shouldn't even say that because that could just be a match announced for TV.
So is the Casino Gauntlet on the pay-per-view?
Yes. The Casino Gauntlet is on the pay-per-view. We had Andrade, Takeshita, and Mark Davis versus Darby, Bandito, and Jack Perry, which was a pretty good match. And it ended with Jack Perry, who was the AEW National Champion, for those of you that have forgotten. Andrade pinned him with the DM. So that suggests to me, which I figured anyway, Andrade is losing to Darby. And then after losing that match, he will remain the number one contender for Jack Perry's national title. Got it? All right. And then a bunch of Don Callis lackeys hit the ring. And this was when we had Andrade, Takeshita, Davis, Darby, Bandito, Jack Perry, Young Bucks, Okada, Takeshita. Okada ran down. And then the Rascals showed up. And I'm like, oh my God, how many matches are we making for the pay-per-view? Turns out the answer was 0, because the Rascals attack is setting up Okada and Myron Reed for Okada's title, which is the international title, I believe, and that is on Collision coming up Saturday.
Yeah, that's where I get to like 27 people after the first match.
Yes. So then we had a segment I appreciated. This whole discussion we had all last week. It has now been resolved. Doc Samson is interviewed, and he says, you know what? Kenny Omega had diverticulitis, but he had the surgery. He is in the best shape of his life. He was cleared by his surgeon. He was cleared by me. I think Max is just trying to get in his head. So they have, in fact, dropped the idea that he could die at any time. Now we only have to worry about Ospreay dying at any time.
And they dropped the idea that Max somehow obtained his personal medical records.
Yes. Yes. Well, in theory, that was explained, that MJF and Don Callis are tight. And so Don Callis...
Yes, but Don Callis hasn't liked Kenny Omega in a long time. Don doesn't get access to his medical records just because he's from Winnipeg.
Well, you know, they're family.
The explanation is MJF is just full of it, which is a very believable explanation.
You know, when you go in, you got to put, like, who's your emergency contact? It's possible that Omega still puts Don Callis. They've been around a long time.
Have you met Don Callis? I think MJF being full of it is a much more believable explanation.
I guess if I had to write that, I think I would just write, not Don Callis! Willow Nightingale and Queen Aminata. I mean, I expected far worse. I thought it was all right. It was Queen Aminata's first match back in like months and months after a neck injury, and it just went way too long, especially on a show that had a 26-minute overrun. It felt like it went on forever, and then Willow beat her with a sit-out powerbomb, and that was that.
Well, and Sheeta looked on.
Oh yeah, Sheeta looked
kind of
on.
bored.
Which I don't even know what they're doing here. I guess Sheeta and Willow.
Well,
But they didn't announce it for the pay-per-view.
Because they cut to Sheeta like 3 or 4 times. I'm assuming that's next.
They could have just announced that for the pay-per-view. That would have helped. Then we got this Jericho promo. I don't trust this guy as far as I can throw him. He did a total babyface promo. Just like putting over the fans and putting over AEW. And then Ricochet came out. And they went back and forth. And they're having a match now at the pay-per-view on Sunday. And then it concludes with Jericho saying, I haven't done this in 10 years, but you know what happens when you're bald? You know what happens when you come out here in your fancy pants little sweatsuit? You just made the list, and the place goes wild. And, it's just weird because he always has something new when he comes back. He always has something new. And I find it interesting that, in fact, he came back and did something old.
Yeah, he played the hits, if you will, for the first time.
Yeah. So I can't figure out, he's doing something, but I haven't figured out what it is yet. It is possible that this is going to be the run where he just does play all the hits. The list, everything he's done, he'll come back in the suit. Maybe he'll cut his hair off for one show, whatever.
For one show.
Yeah, but, I think he's either playing the hits, all of his babyface hits for this run.
Although technically the list was a heel gimmick.
Yeah, but it's like a babyface thing now.
It was popular the whole time, but he was a heel.
Yeah. Something's up. I haven't figured it out yet. Then we had Ciampa and Masquerade Dorada. Winner getting the number 1 spot in the gauntlet. Ciampa won. It's a good match, but it was it had some moments where they were both probably communication issues or whatever.
So this is one of those gauntlets where it can end at any time then?
Yes, that's why you want to be first.
So that makes sense. Okay.
Christian and Copeland did a promo. FTR came out, and long story short, they beat up Christian, and they Pillmanized his arm to injure him going into the match. I guess we were supposed to be sympathetic. It was like, they beat up Christian. I don't know. Darby cut a promo backstage. He has now done a complete 180. Now he is saying, you know, everyone always talks about me having a death wish and not caring about anything, but it's all a facade. If I didn't care about anything, you know what? Maybe I'm just scared I can't win the big one or be the face of the company, because you have to be champion to be the face of this company. I need this championship more than anything. I'm sick of hearing I'm not enough. I've always been enough. I need this more than anyone can ever imagine. So, I think obviously he's winning. And the question will be, who is he facing and when for that title? Then we have the United Empire versus Death Riders, Anarchy in the arena, basically. And the big finish is Will Ospreay pinned, actually him and Callum both. I don't know how the referee allowed this. They both piled up and pinned John Moxley.
You're worried about the rules after watching this match?
I don't know. You're not supposed to have
There was no tags. Everyone was legal. There was weapons. There was tables.
So, yeah. This tells me that they're doing what some people are really not going to like, probably most people, but which, I mean, I figured this the entire time. Will Ospreay is going to fail and fail and fail and fail his way into winning the Owen, and then probably fail a lot more before winning the title at Wembley, because that's what he loves to do. And granted,
he did win here. He didn't fail this evening.
No, but the pay-per-view is like the big match. It's a big singles match, and I think Moxley's winning. And then we'll see where they go from there. I could see Moxley winning, and then it comes down to the two of them in the finals of the Owen, and Ospreay beats him there to go to Wembley. I could see them doing that. And then we had a very long promo segment with Kenny Omega and MJF, which was a good promo. You know, they built it up to be a really big match. It's for the title. And 26 minutes later, the show went off the air. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Okay, can everyone hear it?
Yeah.
There is a mystery bell at Granny's house. She can't hear it. Take off your headphones for a second.
I had them on wrong anyway.
Okay.
I can't get them on right. What?
Take them off and listen.
You have in your elbow?
Is the fan on a computer?
Nothing.
All right. Well, this is going to be an exciting show.
Gonna have bells ringing through the whole thing, and it's every week. It's got to be me.
Do you have a neighbor that's an ice cream man
No,
practicing out there?
I got a neighbor that smokes marijuana.
I'm sure you do. I guess
Whatever that noise is, I mean, it's still going.
Yeah, it's not going to stop, dude.
Brian, do you want me to get off here and go see if open the door and see if there's anything out there?
Kidding? Something's out the front door?
Is he ringing the bell the entire time?
Yeah. No, Granny, you don't.
Let me in. Let me in.
It's fine. It's fine.
If it's death, don't open the door.
Thank you, Craig. This person thinks it's a stove timer.
Have you burned the roast?
No, I don't have a stove. You want me to just get off here?
No. We're going to barrel through it.
I'd love it.
You're not even doing anything. Granny, Nick says that you've got an old-fashioned analog alarm clock in Terry's bedroom.
I don't know. I got a new alarm clock. Battery operated. Is that what she meant?
Well, whatever it is, it's going haywire right now.
Oh, it might be my alarm.
You think?
But it's way back in the bedroom.
Don't worry about it right now. But when the show's over, you might want to go...
That's what it is.
Okay.
Solve the mystery.
Is there a reason you didn't turn it off when it started ringing?
Well, I wasn't in there. I didn't.
Duh.
I took a nap. I took a nap and set the alarm. I thought I shut it off, but I probably didn't.
No,
You probably didn't.
That's life.
I would say with a good deal of certainty that you didn't turn it off.
Brian, that's life around here.
Yeah, I'm well aware. I do the show with Dave, too.
Say,
Hear all sorts of things in the background.
did I do that? You know,
Yeah, you did do that.
or I thought I did that, but I didn't.
in there.
I wake up and I see lights on, and I say, I didn't turn those lights on. What's going on?
Maybe the place is haunted.
Could be.
Okay.
It's my brain that's haunted.
Well, I hope not. Instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe. Old Tony going head-to-head with us again. He's got a media call right now. We'll have the audio.
He's going head-to-head with everybody.
Yeah, we'll have the audio presumably up here soon. But, boy, he had some questions. Asked about a collaboration with Juggalo Championship Wrestling. He asked about Chris Jericho. And, yes, Josh Nason says the notes and audio will come to the website shortly. Khan did say that spring breakthrough editions of Dynamite and Collision will be returning next week after all. So I guess that decision was made recently.
Mm-hmm.
No mention of it whatsoever last night on television.
Let's not forget Impact tonight, AMC.
Yeah, what do we got?
We've got Impact. Main event is the Hardys versus the Righteous in a TNA Tag Team title match, table match. And we have Rebellion on Saturday, so don't forget both shows.
Yeah, Trey Miguel and Mustafa Ali for the TNA International title, Leon Slater, Cedric Alexander X title, Hardys versus The System for the tag titles, Kazarian versus Elijah, Elegance Brand versus ODB, Mickey James and Taryn Terrell, Hardcore Country match, Mike Santana, Eddie Edwards, TNA title, Ariana Grace, Lei Ying Lee, TNA Knockouts title, Nick Nemeth and AJ Francis, and
Cleveland's own
Moose and Special Agent Zero. And it does look like Vinny and I are going to be watching that pay-per-view on Saturday night and do a Brian and Vinny show afterwards because we're not doing one Sunday. And I think we're going to try and get Garrett to do Observer Radio Sunday because the show ends at 9:30 in Vancouver. It's a 2.5-hour drive, and I know we're going to get stuck at the border for a long time, so it's not looking likely. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up for today. Vinny and I back tonight for subscribers. AWNXT, F4WOnline.com, video.f4WOnline.com, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Sign up today, everybody. It's a great time. It's WrestleMania season. We'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.